Ladies and gentlemen, coming back to you again, live and for sure in living color. You got Mick and Rick with Mickey Clayton and the legendary Rick, Georgetown Brown.
What's happening, Coach? What is really going on, man?
Oh man, you know that's why we here. That's why we doing this again, to really tell people what's going on.
I know that's right, because we do have a lot to go on. But first, hey, give it up to Pat Ewing and them Georgetown Warriors for winning the Big East and going back to the dance. We're dancing, baby. We dancing, baby. What's happening?
Shameless plug. That took all of 1 minute and 18 seconds.
Okay, sorry about that. But no, I'm not. Sorry, not sorry. This is great news. Anytime Georgetown is in the tournament, it has to make people happy or mad, but it makes me happy. So that's all that matters here. Let's go. Let's go.
Make people mad, that don't matter anyway, does it?
But you know what, Coach? On the real, and why I'm really excited is because last year this time they were shutting everything down, and we didn't have this tournament. We didn't have that one special moment. We didn't have March Madness. Well, we did have March Madness. It was mad last March, but not because of basketball. And so I'm really glad that we're here. We're able to do something and have a tournament finally.
Okay, you jump right in it, COVID-19, but is having this tournament the right thing to do?
Well, now this is what it depends on. Are you a sports fan, or are you trying to get money? Because we all know what the real deal is. The real deal is about making money, and not just for the pro teams, but we've always said that college athletics, especially football and basketball, is a multi-million-dollar industry. So we would be asinine to say it wasn't about money in this instance. You know, I did have some reservations about whether they should even have a season.
But Rick, I need you to be a little bit more specific, because I don't really think, even with we all know it's about money, who is the one that's making this money? Because I got some words.
The schools. The schools are making the money, or the presidents. I mean, I don't think the athletic directors are. I think it goes higher than the athletic director.
It goes higher than the schools, Rick. And see, that's the part. That's why we're here.
Okay.
That's why we're
all right.
here.
Talk to me, Coach.
It's the
talk to me.
NCAA that is doing this.
Right.
The
right.
NCAA hosts the NCAA March Madness tournament. And the basketball tournament funds everything for the NCAA, not football. Football is left up to the individual conferences and the schools, and the NCAA gave that up to the individual schools because the schools were talking about leaving. So they didn't have a choice. So they gave that to the individual schools and the conferences. But right now, the only thing that funds the NCAA is the NCAA basketball tournament. They did not have that tournament last year, and they lost boatloads of money. The NCAA was able to get by because they had some money left from previous years, but that money's about to run out. They don't have an NCAA tournament this year. NCAA could go belly up.
which is a whole different story, because we can really jump on the NCAA, but we're not, because Coach, I can't jump on them though, because the few months that we had without sports was hard. I mean, I know you're a lifelong athlete and coach on all levels, and I know it had to be hard on you, because it was driving me crazy just being a reporter and not being able to cover games. It was nuts.
Sports have to deal with the NCAA. If we didn't have an NCAA, we would still have collegiate sports. We might have a different collegiate governing body. And my question there, would that be all bad? If you had a different governing body other than the NCAA, would that be all bad? See, the NCAA right now is going tremendous changes that they never thought they would see the light of day in terms of even student athletes starting to get money and things like that. Now,
Right.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna play devil's advocate because that's what I do.
Right.
At the end of the day, the NCAA right now, if the NCAA went belly up,
Mhm.
we would still play football, we would still play basketball. Now,
Agreed.
the NCAA, during its heyday, strong arm everybody to take and do what they wanted it to do. They put in all type of academic legislation, all type of academic rules, because as the Black student athletes became more prevalent, it was about gaining control over admission for the Black student athletes so that the number of schools that had them was limited. And they did it all behind academic success coming out of high school. So once they covered it with academics, you couldn't really say anything about it. Dr. Humphreys from Florida A&M University always fought it. They really hated to see him speak at the NCAA tournaments because he spoke out against it intelligently, which created a problem.
Now,
Where do you see the president's role or it should
No,
be today?
I mean, look, athletics is an integral part of higher education, right? And it helps form so many wonderful memories of the time that you were in college. I mean, so it is the mechanism by which you build relationships, you share exciting moments together as students, faculty, and athletes. So you don't want to lose that because it's an integral part of making the college experience a fantastic experience.
now,
If
Coach.
NCAA went belly up, why couldn't you do something like all HBCUs had their own conference, had their own admission standards, had their own academic requirements, and competed? Now, because you see SWAC, what's the SWAC doing? SWAC got a television thing they're working on with ESPN. People are now trying to find ways to save money. So there's the money that they pay for athletes. Why couldn't the HBCU conferences get together and do their own academic requirements, play each other, and roll with it and do something? I'm just saying.
Now, will you get the television dollars from that?
Yeah.
Will
There's
they
a
come
need.
aboard with the ESPNs and CBSs and Foxes? Will they come aboard and give the money like they give to
No,
the?
no, they're not going to give you the money that they gave the Power Fives, but you don't have to have Power Five money to be successful.
Can you have major money and be successful?
You could have anything that's an enhancement over what we have now and be successful. So I'm just saying, if you're used to doing without, you could do without, but if you get a little can go a long way.
Now, so are you advocating that this is what should happen, or you?
I'm being a devil's advocate.
Yeah,
If
okay, that's
something
what you're
happens
doing.
and the NCAA doesn't make the money they want to, somebody smart is going to put together a coalition of schools, and we're going to run together and do our own thing.
I wonder how Insights can be involved with that.
By continue to provide education to it one way, I hope. There's people who wouldn't want to hear that. So let's go back a little bit. This has been a horrendous season to me, just in terms of people trying to play. And it started with Florida, and the kids fell out against FSU. You a long time. Tell me Shades of Hank Gathers didn't come across your mind when you watched that.
Reggie Lewis, Hank Gathers. Yeah. You're right, Coach, because you didn't know. And then with COVID happening, you were thinking, did COVID have anything to do with it? And if so, what about the rest of the team? And then what about the rest of the other team and the refs? And this kid, I was scared because I have a son in college. And if I got that call that my son had fallen out, or I was there and saw it, it would drive me crazy. And not knowing what was going on, you're right. It started from day one, Coach. And how did they get through this? How did they get through it? What would you have done? How would you have managed? I mean, how would you have coached and managed? Because that's what you would have had to do, be a manager. How would you have managed college students, number one, who are trying to find themselves, become themselves, and they may be big men on campus and all, and or big women on campus even, and have their own thing going on? How do you say?
It would have been difficult, but let me back up a little bit, because I don't want to minimize the effect of us who came along at a time and saw Hank Gathers at Loyola Marymount have that heart condition and die on the floor in front of our eyes. And when that kid fell out, that's all I could envision, and knew that it would almost take something like that to happen for them to decide we need to play with COVID-19. Last year, COVID-19 was probably 1/10 of what it was now, and they closed down everything. Yep. And it's a raging pandemic this year, and we tried to play a full season, football and basketball. And all we were hoping, all of us, was that none of these kids would die or get the contracted disease and have something go on 5 years from now as a result of them having the disease.
Which we still don't know.
Still don't know. And now back to your question in terms of coaching, having a coach at the Division I level I was at, for men and women, it would have been extremely hard. You have so many things you have to control with the students anyway, without even having COVID-19. But to be in a position to have COVID-19 going on, trying to put them in Florida, I mean, not Florida, Duke had their kids, they stayed in a hotel. They never stayed on campus. They stayed in a hotel, and they tried to have their own bubble, and they still ended up with a positive test at the wrong time for Duke. And then you ask these kids to make these tremendous sacrifices to not be a student, because that's what you're asking them to do. They're not students. And even the students who are going to campus in a normal everyday life, that's different for them. You know, because they want to go out and have a party. They want to hang out. How many times have we seen pictures of parties and no masks and things like that?
Scary. When Alabama won the football, the FBC championship, and they flashed to Tuscaloosa, daggone, the road was just filled with people, and the blocks were filled with people, many without masks. And I understand. I fight with my youngster with this, but you have to play the long game. You have to play the end game with this. I mean, but it's hard for students. So my hat's off, or I would take my hat off, but not now, for those coaches and the players who were disciplined enough, who saw the big picture to play this season. It's amazing. And wow. And now we're here, March Madness. Wow.
And it's madness for real. and don't get me wrong, for me, it's my absolute positively favorite time of the year, hands down. Nothing's close in second place. It's my favorite time of the year, number 1, number 2, and number 3.
Yeah.
And number 4 might be football rivalry weekend, Thanksgiving weekend. You know, that might be next, but that's like number 4. You know, you love this time, and we get a chance, as always, against the HBCUs play in the proverbial play-in games. I mean, I was curious to see if they let Duke in, and to see if Duke would could you imagine Duke is one of the play-in games? That wouldn't happen. But could you imagine that?
Well, I'm surprised that Michigan State is one of them. I mean, I was shocked when I saw that. I was like, really? They're actually Michigan State? I mean, and this is the first time in 24 years. We talk about how crazy this season is. First time in 24 years, Duke, no Kentucky in the same tournament. That's crazy. That's great. North Carolina is the 8th seed. What is this is COVID madness. This is crazy.
Okay, give me your opinion on having spring football.
I was not for football at all this year. There were so many unknowns in the beginning with this disease. And so I didn't know if the constant contact, especially with the linemen banging each other every play, would that help or not help spread, but spread it. There was so much unknown that when there was talk about a spring league, I was against it totally. Like, no, let's sit back and wait. But again, I understand the money aspect of it. And I understand as a coach, you want to prepare, get as much in as you can. But as a fan, as a father, as a parent, I would be very skeptical and afraid. And so I did not want to see the spring season coming about. But now that it's on, I'm watching.
I'm watching. I've been very impressed with Jackson State.
Deion Sanders, prime time.
Okay, hold it right there. Hold Jackson State in prime time. I bet you could turn on the TV, watch Jackson State, and tell the kids that are the transfers just based on their physical size and their physical and their conditioning programs that they came to from their Power 5 schools.
Well,
those guys are huge. You could tell the transfers; they're huge. Some of them didn't play a lot where they were, but they are huge out there.
Yeah, and you can tell the difference. You could always tell the difference from in that aspect because they get when they come there as a redshirt freshman most of the time. They're doing that just to bulk up, and they're already the measurables. You know the big school's always about measurables more so than anything else. So no, it doesn't surprise me, but you're right. You can tell right away. Well, and how much are they going to get because of Deion's name?
Right. And before we go too far in Deion, we'll have pretty good discussions about him in 2020, doing that thing on him again. 30-30, I guess it's called with ESPN. But you know, the NCAA and back to COVID.
Yes.
A lot of the schools have required the kids to sign a waiver to participate. Then on top of that, the NCAA gave these individuals another year of eligibility. Now let's look at what that's saying. That's saying that you didn't have to play if you didn't want to, because we gave you another year eligibility. And we've given you another year eligibility, so your institution can now allow you to play. Even though you played, you still get another year eligibility. So you have X number of scholarships used. The seniors that you thought were seniors are now seniors again. You've signed kids during the early signing period, thinking that these kids were leaving and you were trying to replace them. Now you have the incoming class coming in. You got the kids who not going anywhere because they got another year eligibility. but the schools do not receive any additional scholarship money for these kids. This sounds like an accident waiting to happen.
Okay, explain that more. Why an accident, you say?
Because now the kids that are coming, the kids that were graduating and didn't sign early, they have limited opportunities to go anywhere. Because most schools have too many kids and they're trying to send them to junior colleges and prep schools. Some schools want to keep the kids, but they don't have additional scholarship money. So they're trying to convince the kids to stay and come to school that extra year on financial aid.
On their own dime.
And so what the Power 5 schools are doing, they're cutting the kids and telling them they don't have much chance to play and encouraging them to go on and enter the transfer portal.
Oh, so they're not even trying to stash them. They're just strictly telling them, no, go on about your business. Thank you very much for considering us.
But you've been here 4 years, hadn't played much anyway. There's no reason to make us think that you're gonna play now. So we recommend that you find somewhere where you might get an opportunity to play this extra year.
Well, then could that be a boon for the mid-majors for basketball, the FCS in football?
It could be. It could be. It should enhance opportunities for kids that you might not have got, or again, the kids that you recruited and didn't get early that now you've gone back and trying to bring them back on that bounce back factor. So all of that could be a factor. And you know as well as I, we're both basketball guys, but the thing is in basketball, it's always easier to be able to build a competitive program as compared to football, just based on numbers. You get one or two really tough kids in basketball, it's easier for you to be successful than it is in football. But most Southern schools in the South prefer the football, even though it costs so much to be competitive in football. But one of the Southern schools that puts more money in basketball is going to really show out.
I'm Danielle, a freshman at Lakeland Tech. I am there, honestly, to get my degree. I saw Mark when he came to my high school playing basketball. He's pretty good on the court, but that wasn't quite the only thing that caught my attention because he is quite a looker. He's a cutie. Tight pair of blue jeans and a halter top. It's over. She's got him on lock. Whatever girl it is, has gotten his attention. As for Gloria keeps drama. That's just what she is. That's just who she is. Guys love her because she has them like a puppet. She can make them move however she wants them to move. So, surviving with my heart in one piece is a priority for me.
Gloria is my name, being all that is my game. I come from Lakeland Tech as a student who's seen life. I'm gonna graduate with my degree and from life. I don't back down and I don't play. Everybody ain't 18 in life. If you can't handle it, don't play with it. Most of these boys are boys. They think they're men, but they don't even know. That's why they're freshmen. Just fresh, not men. Why y'all got her with a Lakeland Tech shirt? We supposed to be cheerleaders or something? Little Miss Goody Twos, is that what y'all think them guys want? Maybe they do, but Gloria wants them in. Did I say that? Well, I've been brought to life in Freshmen, and I plan to make the most of it. Read Freshman, but my story is the story.
All right, Coach. Back on the in for this tournament. What are your thoughts? Can Gonzaga, who's been knocking at the door, you can't call them Cinderella no more. They've been knocking at the door for 10 years now. They're the #1 overall seed. Can Mark Few and this squad do it?
Absolutely, they can do it. But my favorites are Texas. I like VCU because I like Bones. I like the way he could flat shoot the ball. But I like Texas.
Shaka.
I like Michigan. I like Florida State. Now, what I like about Texas is a lot like FSU in that they're long and athletic. Not quite as committed to play defense as Leonard Hamilton's kids are to play defense. But those three are teams that I kind of watched a little bit as the season went on. I never really followed the season because it was just so hard for me to do.
It was. It really was. I agree.
And I don't know how this is going to go with all the protocols and the NBA bubble that now set a precedent. Those teams are already in Indianapolis under the bubble, and they would allow you to lose players as long as you have a minimum of 5 that can compete. And the NCAA is desperate, and they're going to do whatever. As we started the show with, they're going to do whatever they can to try to pull this off, and it's going to be an exceptional 3 weeks coming up. I'm going to sit by my TV. I'm going to keep my storyline and line open to see who gets kicked out and who's allowed in and who's testing positive, and hope that at the end of it, there's a champion without an asterisk.
That's the prayer, Coach. I mean, how they have it now. They have 4 replacement teams ready to go. Well, up until tomorrow. After tomorrow, the deadline is passed, and if no team comes out saying they're positive with COVID, then they're locked in. But if a team does get COVID, then the other team walks. It's like tennis. It's a walkover.
Right.
And can you imagine what happens in the Final Four? What happens in the championship game? Are you going to just give Norfolk State the championship because Gonzaga didn't make it or got COVID the day of? But we pray that we can get through these 3 weeks and have our song, that one shining moment at the end, and there'll be a bunch of games, Coach. But like you, I'm a little concerned. What happens, and will this have an asterisk mark on it regardless of if we go through it or not, just because of the season? I don't know.
Well, one thing for sure, we're going to be back next week and talk about it, because there for sure going to be some spinnickety that happens, and we're going to bring this to you because this is Mick and Rick, and that's what we do.
That's it. Straight no chaser, bringing it to you.
Straight
live.
No chaser. All right, we appreciate y'all. This is Mick and Rick. We'll see y'all again next week. Deuces.
Out.
This is Mickey Clayton, the coach from INSiiGHTS. Boy, y'all know I love me some barbecue. I found the bestest barbecue sauce. It's online at BBQ Jank, BBQ Jank, the Jank. Boy, I'm messing around with that stuff. I no longer have to mess around trying to make my own. I'll put that in a pot, put it on my meat. I'll claim it, but it's from the Jank, the official barbecue sauce of INSiiGHTS. You better order some for your next tailgate early.